Hello. In this video, I wanted to talk about drawing and orienting axis for constructional drawing. This photo is by Seth Ausubel, and the thing that gets, it seems like this technique gets forgotten about a lot, and I've always wondered why. I think the reason is because it doesn't always seem like it's clearly there, even though it is there. So we have a red mushroom. Give me 1 second and I'll try to pull up the name of it if I could find it. It's called a red chanterelle mushroom. Probably said that name wrong, as I tend to do. So the thing is, we have this mushroom here, but branches are extremely difficult to draw. And what do I mean by when I say branch? Well, it's really a stem. But if you look, my mouse is over here, by the way. If you look at how this mushroom is growing, there is a line. And at first you may think the line is just kind of like that. It appears to actually kind of go like that and then like that. But it gets even more important to think about it in what you can't see. So there are certain things you can't see because the cap of the mushroom is kind of obscuring the center. So it kind of like what I'm seeing from this picture, it kind of goes a little bit like that. And sometimes you kind of have to overestimate it a little bit. So here we have our mushroom line. And the thing about this is you have to think through your forms. You kind of have to do a little bit of estimated predicting to get the orienting axis for whatever it is that you want to draw. Sometimes, like you may be drawing a branch in which you can fully see the axis line. Sometimes the axis line may be like doing weird things. Some leaves tend to fold in on themselves in a weird way, and it can make finding that orienting axis line difficult. I would say try your best. If you are drawing leaves, try to think about how the stem is growing, or like not the stem, sorry, like the center vein for any leaf. Usually if you like put a line through that, then if you draw the sides of it, that could be a good way to go. Even though I don't have a leaf reference on me right now, like you would do it on like both sides if you ever have seen a leaf, which I'm sure you have. But you have to think of it in like terms like that, like trying to see through your forms. So we have this here, but I also need to draw the ellipses that make it up. So this ellipse right here kind of represents the cap, and I am going to draw the overall shape for the cap. Well, I'm not drawing this to scale, but think of it like you draw the construction, you draw the orienting line, then you draw the other stuff, which eventually covers it up. Well, it's actually a bit wider. So here we have it. And there are a bunch of ellipses. When I say ellipses, we are going to be drawing both sides of our mushroom stem here, but you kind of have to, do this pre-planning. It's kind of like laying the foundation, i.e. the word in constructional. It's kind of like you're laying the foundation of a thing before you draw it. And it's also important to think about how these ellipses sit in 3D space. I would say that I kind of messed up at the starting point, in which I made that ellipse way too thin, because we are seeing like a full circle for where the center of the stem grows before the cap kind of goes out. So I should have done it like that, and I'm glad I was able to catch my mistake, because the more you do this, the more you will be able to actually catch your mistakes, which I think really helps expedite your progress and understanding. So it's always important to do that. So now I want to draw ellipses down to the bottom of the stem, and I'm going to kind of end the stem with an ellipse kind of like that. But the thing is, like, as we have this orienting axis, there's a series of ellipses we're going to place, so we have a way to orient the lines that we're going to draw to this point. I mean, you very well could, if you want to, you probably could get away with drawing that or doing it that way. But then again, you kind of really rely on your gestural line drawing skills, and you could do that. But sometimes I think it is important to show how the stem or branch or whatever it is that you're drawing tends to rotate in 3D space. You may not have to do this with a leaf because, like I said, sometimes a leaf may do something like that. Leaves could twist and do weird stuff like that, so you may not need to draw a series of ellipses to summarize it. You could do that because that may help you understand the plane changes. But more often than not, I feel like it's not going to help you. Even with like the stems of leaves, I feel like that center vein tends to taper the further you get out to the end of a leaf. So perhaps I think using ellipses in that instance may end up causing you a lot of confusion. So I'm going to start drawing ellipses. So I'm doing these ellipses, and the thing is, as we get closer to this circle, the degree, like we're seeing more of the degree. Sorry, I'm not liking these ellipses and I'm drawing. I'm trying to ghost my ellipses before I draw them. Okay, so we have this. If you ever have seen a mushroom, it is important to note that I'm not sure this follows true for every mushroom, but it's usually like I've seen a tapering of the mushroom like closer to the base and also kind of like getting larger as you get to the top of it. So we have these ellipses. If you think of like a Roman column, like a Colosseum column, or like a pillar, you have ellipses that are above you, kind of like that. Let's say that's the eye level. That line that I just drew there is the eye level. And below that, you're seeing ellipses below you. And exactly at eye level, you're just going to see a straight line. So this is a pillar that's sitting on eye level, and we're observing it in our perspective. Well, the cool thing about that, and I kind of messed up the size of that one and that one. They should have been like the same, and like if they would connect kind of like that. That's like kind of the principle that I'm trying to hammer away. So in this instance, the mushroom is kind of doing that and doing that. That's what I'm seeing with it. There's probably a portion of the mushroom we can't see. It's probably growing near some type of base or on something, and I think it would be better if I had a reference that was doing that so we could see the core of where the mushroom was growing from. But working with this and thinking about how the ellipses turn in 3D space and how they get wider as they turn towards us, I'll draw, like, think of like a penny. Like if you're looking at a penny straight on, it's kind of like that. But if you rotate to the side, you just see like a line. I mean, I know in reality you really see like a little bit of thickness and ridging on the coin. But yeah, it's usually like that, and usually if you were looking at eye level, you'd have like the ridging would kind of be like that, and closer it gets to the top, it kind of wraps like that, and near the bottom, it kind of wraps along the contour like that. So yeah, that's how you do an orienting axis for constructional drawing. You can take this further. I think you could always try to somehow jam an orienting axis into anything. Commonly, people also use this for a thing called the line of action. I think that is a bit different than an orienting axis, but perhaps it could be considered one and the same. You may not always use it for constructional, but like, let me draw an example for you. If you had like a person that was kind of like in a crouching position, how would I do it? If you have a person that say was in a crouching position, I'm just drawing like a little stick man right here. Let's say this guy was like, he has his hands over his head that's kind of like covering them, and he's kind of like squatting like that down, kind of like in a bit of a crouched position. I should have pushed it more. But like the line of action would kind of be like that. It would kind of be like a C curve. So that could also help you in a thing called gesture drawing. There's a lot that you could go with it, but there are also times when you may have to decide that it may not be the most appropriate for you to use. So if you do have a question about it that I can maybe expand upon, please ask below in the comments. If you like my videos, please subscribe. And if you like the video, please like it. So thanks for listening to me. Bye.